Today has been a long but pleasant one. We started around 8:30, at least I did, with the swearing in at Government House of some 24 new island constables that will devote their time to the security and safety and being helpful to those who visit several of our principal touristic sites and St. Kitts. Port Zante, for example, the Anglican Church, Independence Square, Black Rock, and so on. We were doing it because we believe it was important to safeguard the gains that we have been making in the tourism industry, where for the last couple of years we have been experiencing historic growth. So that twice in a row, in 2017 and again in 2018, we had over 1 million cruise and tourist arrivals in our federation. Let's give our Minister of Tourism a round of applause. I say that to say that we are a government working hard to deliver to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And none can ever doubt that, and none can gainsay that. Not only are we working hard, but there are results that are there to show and to support how impactful our work has been. There are some in the country, no matter how well we perform, even when we are doing what seems like miracles, they will never commend the team unity government. So we cannot rely upon them. And some of these people are people who go on radio to talk often and regularly, but they're talking about things which they do not know. And they don't want to know either, because they go on the radio time after time speaking ignorance and professing that they have knowledge. I think that was the point in part which Mr. Nisbet Jeffers was attempting to put to you. Everyone is entitled to his or her opinion, but you are not entitled to the facts. And the facts of the case speak to a team unity government that has performed like no other federal government in the last 30 plus years in this country. You have heard it from the Honorable Premier. Going way back since 1980, you can contemplate a time in the politics of Nevis, in the politics of St. Kitts, when you could have gone into an election in Nevis, highlighting what has been done to the federal entity. For Nevis was all alone, was being used for convenience. It took a change, a new team unity administration with a new philosophy, with a new vision of empowerment across the divide to bring Nevis into a genuine federal relationship. Your Premier has said repeatedly, this is the best that Nevis has had it with the federal government. Thanks to your support, Thanks for your partnership. Thanks for you being committed to give this experiment a chance to blossom, to realize its mission. You are now better for it. And sometime I hear my cousin Joe Parry speak about what it is we're getting over here. And sometimes I hear Hector talking like that too, and making a big noise. And sometimes I even hear my distant cousin Patrice in the federal government talking these kinds of, I don't want to say, them kind of things. And you wonder, how dare they be the one to speak? When for all the years, when my cousin Joe Parry served as premier, Parry had no sway in the federal entity. None. All that my cousin Parry would have gotten would be a trip somewhere. Nothing. For over the years that they were in a partnership, they can't prove or show one project. But you hear the premier before me. All that has happened. And when they say, well, you all are giving Nevis this support, budgetary support, 30 million a year, we wonder why it's not more. We wonder why it's not going up and coming down. And I wonder why they want it to go down. We prefer the stability. But you ask, well, what it is they were getting when Parry was there, when Patrice was Attorney General, when Patrice Nisbet served as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, what it is Nevis was getting? Nothing. What Nevis got instead was embarrassment. Was embarrassment. Because when Convis Maynard's father presided as chairman of National Bank, they bounced the check for the ordinary workers in Nevis who were relying on their check from month to month. And they had no consideration. Where was Patrice Nisbet then? And where was Uncle Parry? And where was Rebelto? None of them said anything in defense of Nevis. And suddenly, now they are unemployed. Now they are unable to do anything constructive for the people of Nevis. Instead of commending the change that has taken place, which is benefiting the people of Nevis, they are trying to find problems and to create confusion because they believe divisiveness would help. The remedy for that is to make sure unity remains stronger than ever going forward. Because it is unity that has produced the results for the people of Nevis. And it is only unity that, based on its record, you can have the confidence will continue to do good things for the people of Nevis. And when I listen to the Honorable Premier, the health sector, Alexander Hospital, in sports, your new athletic track, almost every area of socio-economic engagement, there is something there as testament or testimony to the support of the federal government. My advice then is that we have to move forward. Forward with unity and remain focused and unity. We can't rely and the armchair analysts on the radio to help us with this kind of sensible analysis of where things are. Sometimes you hear them say, well, things so bad, and you wonder why. And sometimes you're happy that they now realize how things bad for them. For when they had the opportunity to make things good for the ordinary people, they did nothing for the ordinary people. They did for themselves. And now you would catch up with them. They did for themselves. And that is why the country is moving ahead of them, you know. The country is moving ahead of them. They are going back to a time in politics which people have long passed. They are going back to a reality that only they are comfortable with. For example, when they are saying that things so bad, Dan Anderson, a pollster out of Jamaica with no interest in St. Kitts and Nevis, with reference to party affiliation, a pollster with 43 years experience in doing polling work for government, for private sector, for NGO, for international organization. He builds his reputation on the reliability of his results, developing his name as a reliable pollster, one of the most successful ones. AG, you IT man, give me the report. But the report is saying that 67% of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are saying they have no difficulty with the team unity administration. Their lives have been made better. 33%. Most of them are happy and Douglas people. Say their lives have been made worse. 67%. That is the reality. Those are the facts. But you listen to some of those people in St. Kitts and Nevis, they want to bring a different kind of scenario to you. And there was an interesting piece of data in the polling. And it was that when he asked some of the people, the pollster described them as die-hard. All of them not die-hard, some of them really were hypocrites. For when he asked them, well, what was the fault of the government? What it is you didn't like? Somewhere in it, AG, 14% say, we know. They were just told to say that the government bad. It has no reference to reality. They couldn't explain why they didn't like the government. It was personal and almost a question of genetics. So among those would be those who are labor till they're dead. Among those would really be those who support NRP so long as Parry is still alive. This is what it really means. There were no sensible reason advanced for their particular position in opposition to the government. So we can't rely upon them. And you could tell yourself, even when your government is doing well, they're afraid to say so because they are dishonest. When the government is doing well, they'll bring up a but. Because they can't come as honest men and women. I give the government credit for this one. When we introduced, for example, the $500 poverty assistance, before they said it couldn't happen, it was too much money. Where the government gonna find the money? Where we gonna find it? Not pulling the devil tail. What kind of question let us ask? We say that we will pay. They said it couldn't be done. They didn't even look properly at the budget to find that we had already inserted the provision in the budget estimates. So they were asking where the money will come from. When we say we will pay. Before that it will never happen. Lord, you see, Team Unity made this promise to thousands of people, and Team Unity not fulfilling its commitment to the people. And when we start to do that, they're not saying, all right, we commend them for doing it at last. I hear that some of the people, hypocrites, went on the radio and they said, why Mark carry the people in Charlestown to get a check? Why Dr. Harris carry them to Independence Square to get a check? Man, this is slavery, man. This is going back to slavery. And you wonder, are these people real? Where under slavery was man getting payment from any government? Have you ever heard a slave get paid? Did you ever hear that? They are not dealing with the reality. They are obsessed in being a distraction. How in 2019, any sensible person could point to any area in Nevis and St. Kitts and say, don't go there, because that is slavery. Well, at one point, all of St. Kitts and all of Nevis were owned by slave masters. Every place in St. Kitts was part of some estate. They even carried their name. So I wonder what they will tell us now. So Tapley Seaton shouldn't be at government headquarters, for that was his seat of colonial power in the days of slavery. Government House. You see the ridiculousness when they go down that route? Are they saying that when the royal family comes, or when you want to take your children out, or visitors to St. Kitts, you mustn't take them to Brimstone Hill, which was built by slave labor, and which when we redeem our future, we cause it to become a World Heritage Site. That is what it is. They are going back to a past when the present and the future is begging them to take notice. Pall Mall Square is now Independence Square. It is our own. We have taken that space, and we should go there anytime we want, day or night, because it is our own. So when the argument comes about going into a square with respect to a payment, somebody really is just up to mischief. For that argument cannot sustain itself. All of us in Caribbean society grew up with that history of slavery, but we can't let that history checker our present and stymie our efforts at the future. But it shows you where some people's mind are, that they will go back to that era, forgetting so much have transpired in between slavery and now. And we have come full circle. It is the son of an ordinary Kittitian and Nevisian citizen who now presides over Government House in Sir Tapley Seaton. It's not some remnant of slavery there. That is why we were able to go there today to swear in 24 for our own people. That is why we go there to celebrate our independence. And I am surprised and disappointed that some of the people who should know better would make their opinion out to be a fact. And that is why I've said, and some people don't like when you say it, why are you listening to some of these programs on the radio to confuse yourself with the untruth and misinformation? I said to my constituents and all who would listen, don't come to tell me that man on the radio say, and I vex with him so till. I tell you, when you know their program is coming on, lock it off. Lock it off. I don't listen to them. So why you going to listen to them? Carry up your pressure as a result and come looking to me for some relief. Lord, I was so vexed with him last night. See, if I did catch him. Stop expose your mind to the filth and mischief that they give week after week as part of their hypocritical act. I have come to say to you, even, and you know it come fashionable now since the immunity, every week somebody says they want to know somebody's business because for them is good governance. You ever hear a thing like that? When they want to know somebody's salary, they say it's a question of good governance. The government should let us know how much this person is getting and that person is getting. I never know that a government could work like that. Just take up people's business, private and otherwise, and just give it out for them to go on the radio to deal with. We keep the press conference. We hold ourselves accountable to the people. They're not satisfied with that. That is part of the good governance agenda. We ensure our parliament meets regularly. They're not satisfied with that. And we even use the parliament for the ministers to report to the country and their stewardship. They're not satisfied with that. What more can you do? In 2014, the federal parliament met 3 times. The last year of the Douglas regime. Last year we met probably 12 or 13 times. 4 times their performance in terms of the legislature. You would think they would have something good to say about that. They had the Integrity in Public Life Act. They did nothing with that act. For 20 odd years, we came in, we put things in place, we set a date to operationalize it, we set the committee up, we named them, we had them sworn in broad daylight, we provided a budget for them. No commendation for the government. But when it wasn't done, when will the IPL come in? We want the IPL legislation. Legislation there. When it was, they had issues regarding the public account system. We went to the parliament, created legislation that give life and substance to it. The director of audit commended us. The accountant general commended us. The leader of the opposition in St. Lucia commended us. Baldwin Spencer commended us. The opposition people ain't commending us. And you know, since we set up that so good and proper, never once did the new leader of the opposition convene a meeting of the committee. They're not interested in that. They're just interested in scandalizing your government. We achieve number 1 in the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index. They like talk a lot about corruption here. Well, when the people went around and do the evaluation of all the countries in the region, they found that corruption was literally non-existent in St. Kitts and Nevis. We were number one in the Caribbean. Those are the facts. These not just Timothy saying it and Mark saying it. Oh, and Alexis, he will say anything saying it. This is independent person went around the world evaluating people and based on objective information did a ranking that put our country first. So why is it you hear them every day attempting to scandalize the country? If Alexis drives a Jeep, oh, it is corruption. They call corruption as if it's some lollipop now. That's the only word they know. To confuse people and negative the country. We have an unpatriotic opposition. We have an unpatriotic opposition. And I want to end on that. Because come Thursday, the court will advise us whether it is the leader of the opposition, Denzel Douglas, is entitled to sit in the federal parliament when he bears allegiance to the government of Dominica. It is an unpatriotic opposition that we are dealing with. How dare Denzel Douglas goes over to Dubai. Denzel Douglas, who cannot go to the US, wants to lead the country again. Where are you going to lead you? Where will he lead you after 20 years? Where are you going to lead us? By where? I don't know where that. But I know even Uncle Parry told me he ain't nothing else with Douglas. Why is it? So he goes to Dubai, and he's in Dubai last week promoting the CBI program of Dominica and calling down the program of St. Kitts and Nevis and saying to prospective investors, not invest in St. Kitts. And if you invest in St. Kitts, when I get back in, I don't know when that will be. When I get back in, I will take away your passport. An unpatriotic leader of the opposition. And the Bible tells us that. Man can't serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other. Denzel Douglas has vested interest in the citizenship program in Dominica. And he goes out regularly to promote the Dominica citizenship program. And in doing so, he tries to pull down the program of St. Kitts and Nevis. No good can come from that. Weakening his country so that he can get his commission out of Dominica. Nothing good will come from that. We have them whenever there is a homicide. Lord, that is like a healthy diet for them. Every day they sing and dance about crime. And let us make it clear, the loss of one life is too much in our country, especially when it's not as a result of natural causes. And we have invested heavily to preserve the peace and security in our country. We are still hoping that we will get the results. But we have not lost faith in our ability, with the help of the law enforcement officers, to bring a new season of peace in our country. I want to ask you to continue praying for peace. For there is something evil about the behavior of an opposition which rejoices over the death of others, and it attempts to make politics out of it. And it had its time at the crease. If they had left us in a good spot, I would not have minded they come with a constructive criticism. It was under Douglas' watch as Prime Minister in 2011 that we reached the height of 36 homicides. So how could he come now to give advice? How could he come like the devil to correct sin? It can't work. It can't work. I want to invite all parents and guardians to pay more attention to your children. Their behavior, their conduct. Give them the love and give them the support. Encourage them to find a job. Mark made the point about jobs availability. Some of you have them at home. They finish with school. They're not working. They're bringing in money. You're not asking where the money comes from. And then later on, when something happens to him or her or to you, you get a better idea that it wasn't honest work. It is better for them to be doing honest work than for them to be involved in illicit activity. And the message we are giving to the young people, and we want you to give your children and your relatives, gang life is no life. They better understand that. If it is one thing we know from our experience, gang life usually leads to death. All these young men, gang life is leading to their premature death. And we want to halt that. I want to end on a note of thank you. Thank you to my cabinet colleagues for the support they have given to the government that has made this government the best performing government in the Caribbean. Give your cabinet a round of applause. I want to say thank you to our Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Grant. Thank you to the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, our Minister of Housing et al. Thank you to Senior Minister Vance Emery, our Minister of Labor et al. Thank you to the Honorable Attorney General Vincent Byron. Thank you to your Premier and our Minister of Foreign Affairs for his work. Thank you to the Honorable Sean Richards. Thank you to the Honorable Wendy Phipps. Thank you to the Honorable Patrice Liebert. Thank you to the Cabinet Secretary. And thanks to all the civil servants in St. Kitts and Nevis that have given loyal support to the government of the day. Understanding that the people have spoken. And once the people have spoken, it is the job of the civil servants not to mess up people because you didn't like how they vote, but to pursue the programs of the government of the day to the best of your ability. St. Kitts and Nevis, in my view, is in good hands with the Team Unity administration. And so I thank you, the people, for your support, your confidence, and I know when the time is ripe, you will do what you have said to Dan Anderson. You will give the Team Unity administration a second term, because one good term deserves another. Thank you, and God bless you.